Now, I would, with this background, where all the participating institutes have shared their research work, the next question is how this can be taken to standardization. And for that, we have Professor UB Desai, who does not need much introduction. There are so many things that can be said about Professor Desai. So I'll introduce him as founding director of Triple IT of IIT Hyderabad, and also he happens to be the first director of IIT Bhilai. So that's a very good
Yeah.
thing to have. And his fractal system is something that we still follow in our academia, in our academic curriculum at IIT Bhilai. So without delaying it further, I would request Professor UP Desai to moderate a panel discussion on areas of engagement with respect to standards and development. And for this, we have one additional speaker, special speaker, Mr. Anindya Saha,
Sure.
who is all from Sankhya Labs, and he is the chair of Roadmap Committee in TSDSI. So over to the panelists. Thank you.
So, Anindya, you have a presentation?
Sir, I have a small presentation. So, welcome everyone. It was very exciting and heartening to listen to a lot of the encouraging talks and presentations from all the IITs. I think this is a great event. I think I should congratulate the TSDSI team for organizing it so wonderfully and bringing everyone together. So yeah, I think I won't take too much time. I'll just dive deep into it. So in terms of TSDSI, yes, my role right now is in terms of being the chair of the roadmap committee. But before that, what was I doing? Actually, I'm also part of a startup Sankhya Labs, which is of course doing software-defined radios and bringing it into for implementing various radio or wireless communication modems. So my presentation is just 2 slides. I basically want to go in 2 phases, as to how we approached it. And let me go to the first slide. So first slide is in terms of what we looked at and how we looked at the standardization in terms of being a startup. And when I say a startup, you can also identify yourselves. All the IITs, the way they are working in a small microcosm, producing the kind of wonderful work that they are doing. You're actually doing that. So you can identify to it very closely. So let me go to that actually. So the way we started was, we started with the development of software-defined radio as a core technology, and we kind of very quickly understood that hey, you cannot define a software-defined radio in vacuum. You have to understand what are the standards that you want to implement. So, of course, we started about 10 years back in 2007, and then we kind of quickly figured out that we need to. And you can see I have kind of listed a whole lot of standard bodies into which we first got inducted. One is the IEEE 802.22, which is the white space standard. You can see some of the products are towards that. Then the White Space Alliance, then Dynamic Spectrum Alliance, because a lot of those things tied into what we were trying to do, which is software-defined radios, and then leading to cognitive radios. So, the very first thing, of course, which a lot of academic institutes have the privilege is to join standardization bodies, and that is actually, I would say, the seed. You first try to understand or learn what others are doing, and then figure out, okay, how can I make a mark? And I have listed then we went on to become members of TSDSI and of course 3GPP via TSDSI. And now with focus on and one of the things that we found, I would say it is a kind of symbiotic relationship, is that when you join a standardization body, you also try to you also understand what others are doing and how you can do it better or you can innovate. So innovation has plays a very key role. It is not just following or doing prototypes of what people are doing, but also innovating on top of it. So this is where we found ATSC3, Open RAN, and Open RAN is a very good example where a lot of innovation can be made. And this is one of the key topics which we are deliberating upon within TSDSI also. as to how to contribute there and how to build an ecosystem within India, at the telecom, which is based on this. And I feel this is one of the key places where standardization can make a difference, and lot of contributions, from different IITs and different education institutions can play a role. And we kind of focused on, the focus has to be on the IPR at the core. And while you are developing a lot of things, I saw all the great presentations. While you are, I mean, one part is to understand, but then we also start innovating and developing our own IPRs, and this is very important. And we kind of understood that just developing products based on the existing standard is not enough. If you have to go to the next level, where you need to want not only as a company, but you want to take the country forward, you need to have IPRs, and IPRs is the thing which you need. And then the next important thing which came to our mind is, okay, we have some IPRs for the company, maybe whatever number you can think of, but then if you want to really make a mark at a world stage in terms of standardization, you need to make sure that the IPR becomes a standard essential patent. And this is something which is not very easy. A lot of institutes have already done that. If you look at the LLC contribution, which went from TSDSI, chaired by, led by worked in IIT Madras, IIT Hyderabad, and all of the people who are behind this, they have really gone through the grind, of converting a simple idea into something which has become a standard essential patent. That is what is the, we have to go through the grind. I mean, there's no shortcut, no easy way out. And that is how we need to kind of, set our goals really, really high. And I think this is also something which we embraced as within the company. So I would not go into details of what the company does, but at least this is what I feel, all of us, even the academia and even the startups need to think of. We need to think big. Of course, we think of doing things local, but then, the way to look at it is, whatever is a problem for India today will be the problem of the world tomorrow. So while we design things for local, but we need to design it for the world. It is not that we design only for local and forget the world, because that is the only way by which whatever we propose, or whatever our IPRs or our NCPs will gain global acceptance. So this is in a nutshell is what the way we traversed in our startup company, and the way we got into standardization at TSDSI. TSDSI has been a great vehicle, and I would actually encourage everybody to join. I believe it's pretty straightforward for everyone to join. Where we deliberate upon standards and in the process of standards making. And so, yeah, I think you can ask questions now or also later. I think so. Let me. And basically, what I want to say is that the roadmap committee today is reorganized, and this is actually showing 1.0, but we are in the process of creating 2.0. And the only thing I wanted to add is we have a very flexible process where not only do we want to take in all the inputs from different stakeholders, and also do a little bit of what we call as an incubation or a mentoring. Whenever a first proposal comes in, it may be in a very raw form, which cannot go to a study group. So recently, efforts have been made in TSDSI to form what is called as a special interest group. I would rather say that all the institutes here who are presenting today can bring in their proposal. We can churn it together and see whether it needs the formation of a special interest group with contribution from other like-minded people who are interested in contributing. It could be other startups, other institutes, and that is also a place of as Pamela rightly put it, Manthan, where once it is turned and polished, it is ready to take into a study group, and then it can go on a path of getting some kind of a standardization form. So I think that's all I had. Very, very short, and then I just put together the domains that we are deliberating right now. I think it you can see that most of them are very, very relevant topics, right from spectrum, open systems, 5G enhancement, 6G, rural broadband. I think everybody has spoken about it. So those are my few slides on this matter. So I think that's all I had.
Great. Thank you so much, Anindya. And I must thank all the other presenters also. Okay. And I think we had a good spectrum. That is, we had people from all these newer IIT, I mean, younger IITs, I should say, IIT Indore, then we had IIT Patna. Okay. We also had Triple IIT Nair, Raipur. Unfortunately, I missed the first two presentations because of some connectivity issues. Okay. That is by Srijit and by Rajeshri. What I found is that a lot of interesting work is going on in terms of R&D, and one of the objectives of these sort of programs that we are having is to actually motivate people to say that you take your R&D and see how you can fit into a standard. And Anindya did talk about it in terms of the journey that Sankhya Lab went through, and I think that was a very illustrative slide. His slide number 2, I think, or 3. I forget. I think that's an illustrative thing, and that is typically the journey that one goes through. Maybe we'll have some after things get crystallized and a little later as to the journey that IIT Madras, IIT Hyderabad went through for LMLC. Today there are lots of articles and everybody is talking about it. This is one of the big success stories we had, but it's a long drawn out thing. Unlike research where you work, you do a lot of interesting things. You have students, maybe 6 months, 1 year down the road, you have a paper. Okay, this is typically how research thing goes. But this particular thing is a very long drawn-out process, and I think LMLC has taken almost, I would say, Pamela can correct me out here, almost 3 years to finally reach this particular stage. And it is not simply a technical battle one has to fight. One has to fight many other kinds of battles. Once you get into it, and that's where TSDSI is there to help you. Okay, to fight those battles. Technically is what you need to do. So that is one thing that you need to keep in mind as to how do you translate. For example, there was a very interesting presentation on non-orthogonal multiple access, NOMA. Now, NOMA has been talked about for a long time, but getting NOMA into a standard is, I would say, a Herculean task. OFDM and other things are much more established. There are people understand it much better. It's much more engraved. And people don't change if you show that I have, maybe a little bit of improvement. It definitely does better, no doubt about it, etc. And one has to go through a long battle and how it fits into an end-to-end system. Just giving NOMA into a standard is not going to get you very far. Finally, you have to say, okay, say as an example, 5G is almost coming to an end in some sense. Few things are still left. But say in 6G, you want NOMA. Now you have to look at the end-to-end analysis to see how it will get affected by NOMA. And that is something which the researchers at various triple IITs, IITs, Triple IIT Nair Raipur, Triple IIT Jabalpur, etc., will have to kind of look at. I think, yes, people at TSDSI can also help you with this particular part. So what I would like to ask, maybe I'll start with, I think Vimal is back or Vimal has left. I think Vimal left, I saw. I don't know if he's still around. Okay. So what I thought, we'll do it in two parts. One is maybe if any of the speakers would like to make any comments on how the research that you have done, in your perspective, what assistance do you need or what is it that you require to first convert it into an IPR? If you look at the path that Anindya talked about, which was very like you go to an IPR, after that you have to take the IPR and convert it into a standard essential patent. Then you have some kind of a chance of getting something. SEP does not guarantee that it will go into a standard. Okay, but that's this next step. So first thing I would ask, all the researchers who presented the papers out here, I mean, the presentations and the R&D that you're doing, have you thought of converting that into an IPR other than simply a publication? I mean, what are your thoughts on it? Are you facing any hurdles in this particular part before even if you go to SEP and standards? Let's just focus on this first aspect, because I find in IITs, not enough emphasis is still there on taking R&D and converting it into an IPR. There are hurdles. I'm aware of some of them, but I'd like to hear from you as to what do you think are your hurdles. Anybody can take a crack at it. Maybe Rashri wants to do it, or Ravi, or Srijit, whoever is there. I think Vimal is not there. Who would like to? Okay, Rashri wants to take a crack at it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, sir, giving this opportunity. So, what I can say that when we have started when we made the proposal to the MAITI, we have not thought about the anything about the standardization. Just we want to do some research and publish the paper.
Correct.
Now, when I came across this TSDSI, then we have seen that I have attended one to meeting of the TSDSI. Then we found that there is a group on rural development. And since our focus on the rural development, it will be good that if we make something on the standardization perspective, and finally we can make something which will be useful for some other also.
Yeah,
And
but there, I like to, I'm sort of interrupting you right now, but I would say, given that LMLC is fundamentally meant for rural India, that's where it started. So I would say in some sense, you're going to have a tough time right now to really go and put another standard, another proposal on telecom for rural India.
It's not like the another standard. Maybe that we can use this RIM LMSE, and we can make a complete setup and that implementation case point of view.
Sure.
That also.
Sure. Yeah,
I mean, my
that's one approach.
I have
But my question was, see, you have done some work. Of course, I think you're doing on AIML, and
Yes.
AIML is already going to play a big role in 5G. There are some sessions. In fact, which TSDSI was involved. I couldn't attend. I think Vishnu was very actively participating in it. So this is going to come in. Now, suppose you want to do some IPR development, because even before you go to the standards, you'll need some patents.
Yes.
Are there any hurdles that you face in patenting some of your ideas, that you have new things that you have in AIML? Or AIML for wireless?
Honestly speaking, that we have not started thinking on that perspective.
I would say that, to me, that would be the first step. That's the impression I got.
That is actually first step.
You are saying, you are being very honest about it, and I think that is the situation with most institutes, that they don't even think of patents when they start doing this work. I think once you do patent, then you can look at SEPs.
Yes.
So that will come next. So that will be, so I'm really glad that you honestly kind of mentioned that we have not even thought about it.
Yes, sir.
This is a frank statement, and 90% of, I mean, even IITs today, not all IITs, a few IITs like say Madras, Hyderabad, that too not every faculty. Even if you go to Bombay, there may be one or two faculty in communication who are thinking of patents. Bulk of them are simply thinking of exactly what is happening, that I have an idea, I have a proposal, I will do research, maybe I'll build a prototype, as you are saying, okay, you'll build a prototype for LMLC, as an example, and you publish papers. What we are trying to emphasize with these sort of outreach activities, and Anindya is the chair of these activities, is to kind of motivate people that go beyond your R&D. Of course, R&D is the first step. Okay, without R&D, you can't go anywhere any further. So what you're doing is you have already done the first step. Now think of IPR. Okay, yes. Anybody else? I mean, you also face the same problem, Srijit, Pritam, Ravi, or you have different problems?
Sir, this is Pritam from IIT Patna.
Please.
Sir, what I feel that presently we have done a lot of amount of R&D work and all. The biggest problem what we are facing is that how to test our algorithms, how to test our model, because test beds are not available, and whatever SDR platforms we have at IIT Patna, okay, that may help us to some extent where we can experimentally verify our results and all. But what we need is that a very robust test for 5G or beyond 5G, where we can maybe a centralized test bed funded by government and all, where we can go and test our algorithms so we can verify whether it is really working on the practical systems, so that finally we can go for patent or future for SEP.
That's okay. That's a good point. See, testbed project has been funded by DOT. I think some testbeds are developed. So I mean, it's difficult to have okay. So you have to sort of work with the group which is working on testbeds. There are a few IITs which are involved with the testbed project. Not all IITs are involved. IIT Madras is heading it. They are the ones who are kind of coordinating and heading that activity. So you have to see if you can get involved and if you can do this kind of testing that you're asking for. Testbeds are very, very expensive. Also, they do get outdated very quickly because this technology is changing so rapidly. But currently, if you're doing something in, I think you talked about what? I'm trying to remember now. you had
We
discussed
talked about
about
the new waveform.
new waveform. Yeah. See, this new waveform also is a very, very difficult problem. If you look at the history of standardization, when I was talking to my colleagues in US, some of the professors at leading American universities, he says new waveforms come once in 10 years. So it's not that easy. I think we were very lucky that for LMLC we came up with a new waveform. In fact, when I think Kiran Kuchi showed that to PR Kumar, many of you must have heard of PR Kumar. Earlier he was Ramana, and now he's with Texas A&M. So he also was saying, he said, this is a rare thing. I rarely see a new waveform coming in American academia or American industry also. So that's what you're doing is very, very challenging. I'm not trying to discourage you, but it's a real uphill battle. It takes a long time. And then after getting the waveform, you have to show the whole application. So right now, do you have a new waveform right now before you go to the test bed?
Yes, sir. We have developed and we have tested on this NI-based USRP. NI-based USP we have used, and I'm happy to inform you that's working quite fine. Whatever we got from the simulations, we are able to test through this NI-USRP.
I think then you should, coordinate with some of the others in India who are doing this work and see, the novelty of this particular waveform as to and how it will fit into standards. So if you have one, I think I would recommend that you should kind of try to look at something like that and see how it will go. So that's one, and then you look at patenting.
Yes, sir.
In fact,
we are trying to patent.
My feeling is you can even go for patenting now, okay, even if you don't do it on a massive test bed. If I recall the waveform which was developed by Kiran Kuchi, I think it started when he was at Madras CEVIT and then he moved to Hyderabad. I think there was no major test bed at that particular time, but they were still able to go ahead and do the patenting for the waveform.
Yes, sir. We have applied for patent. We have already applied for patent. With whatever test.
Good. Sir. Good. So that is already there. So which is good. So once you get the patent, then, and in the meantime, yes, you talk to researchers at the older IITs where they have the infrastructure for doing some further testing that you want, and see how we can collaborate.
So I can write to IIT Madras because I think
you can write to them, and I am out of it, so I can't say much right now. I think you can write to Kiran Kuchi, or you can even write to Ganti at IIT Madras. And see how we can kind of go ahead and test your waveform out there. Sure, I think that would be a good idea. They can also validate the work that you are doing because this kind of thing will be required. So, anybody else? I think Ravi. Let's move to some.
Yes, sir. It's really a very important point raised by you, sir. And currently, actually, you are talking about 2 points. One is the IPR, and the other one is the standard. So standard is no doubt is new for me. I came to know about this workshop only. Earlier, I was familiar with the IEEE standard, but this IPR work already 4 students are currently working under me, and they are also participants in this workshop. And everybody have already filed 1 or 2 patents. So already 3 patents we have filed over these shielding structures, and 3 others are in processing. And after that, definitely we will think about this standard development also in nearby future.
Yeah, so I think that's very good. I think you should now look at how we can convert them into an SEP. In fact, your area is a very important area. Also, it's a very tricky area. It's not simply like what Preetham was doing, or what it's much easier. In a sense, you have a little more sensitive topic to deal with as opposed to.
Yes, actually, sir, it's an entirely interdisciplinary research area.
Sure.
The requirement of different fields is very much required.
Yeah.
So, for example, for development of these shielding structures, we are using artificial intelligence techniques, and other knowledge of material science and nanotechnology also required for the selection of the substrate. And of course, after development of electromagnetic structures is another art.
I agree with you. So I think it's good that you are doing some patenting out here. Srijit, do you want to make any remarks, any comment? I don't know if Srijit is there. I see him in the.
Hi, sir.
Go ahead, Srijit. Yeah.
So actually, I don't have any particular thing in.
No, for patenting, how is it? Do you like the ideas that you had? You were talking about healthcare. I just saw the first.
Yes.
So,
yes, sir. Actually, this is like we're working in collaboration with IIT Delhi also.
Very
good. The patenting, I think the work is basically coordinated by Dr. Arse. He may be able to give them more details on that,
okay.
like how the patenting part is
Fine.
there.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. So you can look into that part. But see,
Yes.
directly the 3GPP and 1M2M that we are dealing with will not necessarily look at healthcare, because healthcare will be a use case. Okay.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
this is standardization fundamentally for machine-to-machine communication. Of course, at the higher level is like 5G, 6G, etc. And one of the biggest use case for 5G is going to be healthcare. If you look at 5G's application domain, this is one of the big application domain that people talk about in 5G. So that way you're on the right track. And
Yes.
you have to look at, if you want to get into standards in a different fora in some sense. But if you have something in telecom, but this use case will have a lot of applications in India. Given the current situation, one of the big advantage of, one of the positive outcomes of COVID is now telehealth has been accepted as a regular healthcare platform. Okay. Earlier people used to have, no, I need a doctor, all kinds of ifs, buts, and maybes were there. Now the country as a whole has accepted that yes, telehealth is a good thing and we should go with telehealth. So in that sense, whatever you're doing, I'm not sure if you're dealing with telehealth. Is that what you were talking about in your presentation? I apologize for missing it.
Yes. So actually, I'll ask Arsad to give some more details of this project.
Sure,
He is the right
sure.
person. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure, no problem. I think Arzad is there.
Arsad is there. Yes.
Yeah, he can always. I think he has stepped out for some reason. He has to get back.
He's there. He's there.
He's
sir.
there. No, he's
Yes.
gone into the audience. I don't know if he's still here. Yeah, he's here. Okay, so he can, if he wants, he can make some remarks. Arzad, go ahead if you want to say something.
Yes. So we have overall we have 3 activities going on. One is artificial insemination with a startup in Bangalore. So there we do have a patent filed.
Okay.
But there's no standardization activity because we wanted to just protect the startup. And second is in the MEC activity that we are doing along with IIT Delhi in the 5G testbed project. We have filed, we are planning for patents on that in terms of MEC host selection and how to do optimal. But then again, that will be a proprietary solution, so that that can be kind of protected in Indian context. And that need not go to standardization. However, in the smart ambulance case, we are the use case is that we have this advanced life support ambulances, and when we step out of the Bangalore airport, we see Esther Hospital ambulance park there. So that is our validation partner, and this communication link will be used when this ambulance is moving, carrying a patient and in emergency, so that initial proactive steps can be taken and informed decisions can be taken by the attendants in the ambulance. So there what we think is that we will be using multi-access system where we will have say 30 or 40 dongles maybe coming from Airtel, Reliance and so on. And there we think that there will be some aspects of standardization, at least from the regulatory point of view, because this will be a kind of creating an emergency communication corridor. So those are the things that we are looking at right now. So there also we are have some patents planned.
Yeah. So, but if you're looking at emergency corridor, then you will need some regulatory approval, right?
Yes. Yes.
To give you some specific whatever access or spectrum or because there are currently some emergency things even in the current 4G technology. I think
yes.
We are using it very extensively, but I think the police and all do have that access. Similarly, some special people with healthcare licenses, they do have that access also.
Right. So in this case, we will also need inter-operator coordination.
But that's, I think, it's going to, you will get it too much into other things anyway. You can go ahead. Just keep in mind that this kind of technologies that is having, real-time healthcare telecom technologies in ambulances, a lot of work has been there for quite some time.
Yes.
In fact, even this 108 service you might be knowing, it's there in many cities in India. They already have some of it.
Yes.
All of it. They have quite a bit of it. So there is a huge legacy or whatever. You have a huge history of these activities that people have talked about. So to make a new contribution also becomes a little more challenging as opposed to getting into a field where something very little has been done. But I'm happy that you are patenting it, getting things done. Also, you are in Bhilai. I think you have Srijit in Patna, and then your sort of your partner is in Bangalore, which is nice. I think you're looking at the overall cross-national kind of activity.
Vimal Bhatia has joined.
Vimal, go ahead. You have any
Sorry,
comment?
sir. Yeah, I had an outage, so sorry.
Okay.
That's another.
Because I saw you that you left and then I didn't see you again. So if you want to make a few comments, you go ahead. And then what I thought we'll open up to the audience and we can close by 1:30. We'll be late by half an hour because 1 o'clock was roughly the closing time. Go ahead, Vimal.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Yeah, so I think I joined back when there was discussion with Preetham going on. So we also did something similar for the NOMA case. We had done implementation using USRPs. We could transfer 2 voice calls. Also have a video calls. So on the same time, same frequency, using a standard IEEE. I think it was 802.11. One of the flavors had OFDM packet, and did transfer for 2 different users. And using SIC, we were able to get 2 voice calls running simultaneously. Also, we could do it, video call as well in our lab. For one of the receiver case, we did some changes in the algorithm, and I have applied for patent on that. We did try into Airtel. I think they were coming up with a new facility in Chandigarh or somewhere, a development facility. Found that next level from here. We have a proof of concept ready. How we move to the next level, but then today I got introduced to M2M.
We missed somewhere,
so that
Vimal.
Maybe one place.
What you said, I think suddenly there was a voice break. What is it that you're doing with Airtel? Airtel has come up with some facility in Chandigarh area. That's what you were saying.
So we were trying, So we were trying to get our solution, or getting them to have NOMA implemented, or even a small test thing, but I think it was difficult to convince, and then they said, okay, because there's no UE available at the moment, it becomes difficult. From engineering point of view, I see, okay, the hardware still remains the same. I don't have to have a new handset, but of course I need to change the firmware, and might be a few handshaking
required. A lot of
things
with NOMA, a lot of things will change because everything is based on, in some sense, OFDM today. So but what I mean, you need to show some significant improvement. I don't want to discourage you. It's NOMA is a good thing area to do research and publish, but getting into standards is going to uphill battle. It's something similar to, if you look at in the history of signal processing, we have frequency division multiplexing, right? And wavelets came into picture. You must be aware of wavelets.
Yes, sir.
One time one thought, wavelets is going to replace Fourier completely. Right? And wavelets couldn't make much of a dent. Fourier still dominates in one form or the other. Okay. So it's not easy to displace an incumbent champion. A very uphill battle to. You really have to do some profound improvements, because I think for more than 20 years people worked on wavelets. I mean, number of PhD theses in India itself, if you count, will be innumerable. Forget about US and other countries. But today, if you look at it, there is not much activity in wavelet, and except for some places for fingerprint identification, very little use of wavelet is there, at least in telecom.
Yes.
But one had all these, just like OFDM, wavelet-based multiple access. Many papers were written on it, and people said, this will do it. But so be a little careful. I mean, of course, your research should go on. NOMA is an exciting field. And usually one shows that orthogonal is easy to handle. Easy to implement it, much easier to manage.
Sir, if I can add.
Please go ahead, Anindya.
Yeah, so actually, NOMA in another version is actually already into a standard called ATSC3. They call it layer division multiplexing. It's, of course, we have implemented it, but then what we find is, because 5G is still studying it, there are very good avenues like what Dr. Vimal is studying, where this can be brought into into the 3GPP4 also. So so I think I'm really encouraged by all the presentations which people have made, and actually I am looking forward to bringing all these things into the roadmap work fora and seeing how we can take them as study items, moving ahead. And of course we have a good ecosystem with the other IITs as well, so we should try to see how to take these forward. And I think one thing which I like is about everyone is that people are trying to solve hard problems, and that is very, very key. Actually, we need to think of solving hard problems, because that's how we move forward.
Yeah. So there's one thing I was actually keen on. When okay, ITU might be a long road ahead, but looking at some of the I don't know if in India we have a bespoke solutions, like even doing agriculture or some other place, or even industries where there are a lot of sensors, and we are limited by the number of orthogonal slots that we get from our Wi-Fi or others. So it could be even for a bespoke solution, and working on even IEEE open ISM bands and open standards. So that's one use case.
So my suggestion would be, what Anindya said. Why don't you make a proposal to the outreach committee? Okay.
Roadmap committee.
It's roadmap committee, not roadmap committee. Proposal to the roadmap committee. You saw the list of items that he had in one of the slides for the roadmap committee. I think your work will definitely fit into it, and the same applies to others. So I think it's a nice offer that Anindya has made, that he look forward to proposals from you in the roadmap committee. You can discuss in the roadmap committee, and we do have roadmap committee meetings. I think last one was in Bangalore sometime back, and now because of COVID, things are delayed. Maybe soon we may have an online roadmap committee meeting because of the situation. So I would say that you make a proposal and see how it goes from there, and thereby you will get into this pipeline for taking it forward towards standardization. Because from roadmap you'll go to study groups, etc., etc. From there. So I would request all of you, if you think there is something significant, you feel you have a chance, submit it. Then of course Anindya and his team will review it and see how they can take it forward. But it will be a good beginning, and that way we will also get your involvement into TSDSI. So this will be a nice way to enter TSDSI, would be through the roadmap committee. I mean, others are like more administrative meetings are there, but roadmap committee will be fairly technical, and people like yourself who are right now heavy into technology should participate in it. I think it's a great suggestion that Anindya has made. Okay, so I think let's close this session. I'd like to thank everybody, all the participants who were there in this session, and the audience also. I hope you were able to benefit from it. And I look forward to all of you in one form or the other now being engaged with TSDSI. Arzad is, maybe let's make him the focal point at the moment, since all of you know him. He has coordinated this particular workshop. So you can go through him, and Arzad can also facilitate in terms of getting something into the roadmap committee, and we take it forward from there. Okay. So we can close the session. Thank you very much.